Welcome back to another episode of the Outsider Sports Baseball Podcast. Corey, Jason, John, Pauline, back-to-back weeks, running duos with you all. And John, are you a gambler? Do you
I'm not. I'm not a
any
gambler.
FanDuel, DraftKings, and
They,
any of that?
they won't let me. I tried. I tried way back, but they couldn't confirm that I was real.
You
I
heard it here
wasn't in their
first.
system.
John is under an assumed identity. He's not a real person. He's a ghost in the wind.
I
We
don't
don't
think
even
that's
know.
the
He
case.
he, he could be a Russian sleeper cell for all we know.
Whoa. He's just joking, FBI agent. He's just joking.
I don't know. If I start spouting off the Winter Soldier words, you gonna like activate?
No, I don't think so.
Might have to
I
sprinkle
don't think
those
so.
in, see what triggers by the end of the episode. But let's get it started here because there is somebody who is a gambler. Tusapita Marcano. He's on the Padres, more well known as a Pirate, though. 24 years old, he's an infielder, and he's facing a lifetime ban from baseball. Basically, what happened with him was while he was with the Pirates last season, he tore his ACL. So while he was on the injured list, he supposedly had placed bets on the Pirates. Now, the way that Section 21 of the baseball articles and rules are written is that if you bet on baseball, but not on your team or a game involving your team, it's a 1-year suspension. But as soon as you bet on a game that involves your team, it's a lifetime ban. So he's now facing a lifetime ban, along with 4 other minor leaguers who are facing discipline, most likely 1-year bans since they don't play on those teams. But this insider information, we knew this was going to happen more once sports betting was legalized because you can't stop people from betting. But it's kind of embarrassing for a league now. We had Ohtani, David Fletcher, now this, to have just it constantly be in the news because baseball has two most famous cases of sports betting and, fixing games with Pete Rose and then the 1919 Black Sox scandal that we spoke about recently.
Mm-hmm.
So, John, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I have a lot to say about gambling. I mean, personally, me, in my opinion, I'm not too fond of sports gambling because as soon as you add anything with gambling to do with games, like integrity is always going to be in question and stuff. But I mean, you have MLB there. I mean, you have them in between games. T Rock has partnering with these sports books and advertising them all over the place. And then it's just like, what do you think's going to happen? But
Yeah,
the whole reason you have the rule not to bet on baseball and gamble is because it opens up the floor to cheating and fixing games and stuff, right? And that's what you want to stop. You have the rule because you don't want people to cheat or throw games or do any of that. So you have that there. But then when teams and players actually cheat, you just give them a slap on the wrist. You don't even suspend them.
right.
Astros. I mean, what did it just all the players got off like like scot free to my knowledge. They got off scot free. I think they suspended all the coaches and some of the managers for at least like a year. But it's like you have the rules in there to stop the cheating, and the cheating actually happens, and you throw it under the bus. But someone gambles, and they're just gambling on baseball. I mean, and if they're not necessarily throwing and stuff, I don't see how that's a lifetime ban when you're just
It's
betting on baseball, but you
it's
cheat.
just tough.
It just they don't make sense. Make it make sense.
It's just a new age, and once you had the daybreak of all this illicit stuff possibly being used, it's just very, very difficult. Like you have guys that have 17 different like apps available to them. And the idea of like seeing all that money, you know, it's like getting hit by a freight car because it just knocks you down.
I
It's
mean,
just so many options out there that like it just messes with your mind.
well, it's addicting and stuff, and there's reason it's only like legal in so many states. I mean, And I think now, I mean, personally, I don't like sports guys. I think you have people who don't even watch sports, patrons of sports, and all they care about is their parlays, who they're putting bets on and stuff. I mean, I think you're you don't
Yeah.
want. I don't think an image for sports, in my opinion. Like you don't want the image for sports, and then you kind of act surprised and stuff when you have players doing it too. I mean, I just think it's just something that I don't really think it belongs, or it has to be this high profile as it is right now,
No,
because
this is something we're gonna monitor. There's been
it's been.
no penalties handed down yet, but it's not a good look when you're banning people for life. You had the NBA with Jonte Porter. Now,
That was warranted, though. I mean,
that was warranted,
he
and
was influencing stuff with these guys who are just betting that they're not necessarily doing anything,
I'm
and
just
it's
upset
like,
because his roster spot was given because they waived Ron Harper Jr. with an injury designation, and Ron's my boy, so they took from me that way. But we'll keep monitoring this, and I do want to ask you your thoughts on the terminology lifetime ban. Does it refer to the person's lifetime or the lifetime of the sport? Like
I
when you hear
feel
lifetime ban, what does that make you think? Like what is a lifetime?
you think of like as long as the sport's
See,
like alive, as long as MLB is going. I mean, I would assume.
that's not how I view it. I view it as the person's life. You're banning them for life, meaning their life. Now, with all the other ones, you're banning for a 1 year suspension. You're suspending them 1 year in their life, but that's also 1 year in the sports life. So that's kind of the same. But for a lifetime, is it the sports life or is it the person's life? Because I feel like you have two different like metaphysical like viewpoints in play.
Well, to put it this way, Shoeless Joe Jackson during that World Series, I'm pretty sure he batted like I want to say close to 400 and wasn't even a part of them throwing, like wasn't even part of the gambling stuff, and he
He
just
didn't
got
know how to
banned.
read or write, so he didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, he was illiterate, but he was great at baseball. But he played the game. He didn't throw anything, wasn't doing anything, wasn't even caught up with it. But he just because he was on the team, he got banned from baseball, and he's long gone now, and he's never going to be in the Hall of Fame, and he should be because of
Why
that
should
ban.
he?
Hmm?
But like
So I
he's
mean,
not, his life is over. His lifetime is done. He served his time, right?
yeah, so you should be back, but like they're not going to put him back. So that's
I just
why
think
it's
he's
like for as long as baseball. It's not just their life. It's for MLB's life.
we need a commissioner that'll say, you know what, Shoeless Joe, we're saying it ain't so. You're in.
I
But
agree.
we're gonna keep monitoring this, and I'm sure we'll talk about this more, especially when Ben and Dylan come back on in the coming weeks. But next up, I want to talk about Tommy John because this league has turned into a furnace that burns arms left and right. You have your O's, your backup team. They lost John Means and Tyler Wells, both to their second Tommy John surgeries. Now, Means underwent it. Wells, we don't know for sure if it's going to end up being Tommy John. They're going to try to avoid it, but it all points to that being the most likely case. And Jose Urquidy of the Astros, he just got seen by Dr. Death, the famous surgeon that does a lot of these Tommy John surgeries, and he might need his second one also. So it is very, very different. And I'm kind of longing for the days where guys could just throw like Nolan Ryan, just one by one, and just keep getting innings and innings and innings, and just not have that type of like feel to it.
I mean, I think those days are gone. I mean, you have so many guys focusing more on how fast their velocity more than anything, and it's hurting the arms because I think when you throw in velocity, I think you're I don't want to say like, but you're ignoring the mechanics, like the throwing mechanics. I think Nolan Ryan had really good mechanics throwing wise. Like if you watch it, I forget the terminology and stuff that they use, but like good mechanics throwing, which let him have such, a long career and longevity compared to some of these guys. And I'm not saying like they're throwing wrong, but I think it's like you got to focus more on throwing mechanics and maybe not throwing as hard, but hitting your locations.
Right.
And you have pitchers like, I mean, Imanaga. He doesn't throw hard. He doesn't throw hard at all. I think he throws a low 90s fastball, but he hits his locations, pitches to contact, and I mean one of the lowest ERAs in the league, and is looking at being like maybe Cy Young and Rookie of the Year. I mean, and he's not throwing heat. So
Yeah,
maybe these younger pitchers got to start focusing on mechanics and hitting locations more than just velocity that you can't really control. As well.
yeah, it might be just the harder you throw, the more likely it is, or maybe arm angles, or just how many innings you're throwing as a kid. It's just disappointing that all three of the guys I named, they're likely getting their second career Tommy John. Now, Tommy John used to be a death sentence as a pitcher. You might not be able to come back. I mean, you had guys like Sandy Koufax who could have used Tommy John, but had to retire because it wasn't available. Even Tommy John, who the surgery was named after, had a slight chance of coming back. Like it wasn't a guarantee.
Mm.
Now, your first Tommy John, most guys come back pretty strong from it, but the second, or even if you have to get it a third time as a pitcher, it's just one of those things because they're not repairing really that ligament. They're taking the ligament from somewhere else and inserting it into your UCL to give you that elasticity. So it's just one of those things where, like, I don't know, it's tough and a little benign that he's gotta leave it there because it's just nothing's gonna happen. If you do, it'll heal on its own. But these guys keep putting themselves out there to get hurt day in and day out.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot. I mean, look at a lot of. I mean, baseball's having a lot of like hamstring injuries too. You see a lot more in football and stuff. And sometimes you got to look at how these guys are prepping for games and what they're doing to take care of their bodies. I mean, to take a thing from football, look at like just like Tom Brady had a really, really long career, relatively no major injuries. And I think you can attest that to he did yoga and stuff. They do, if you keep your body, flexible and limber, like you're gonna get less of these injuries. And it seems like a lot of these injuries, it's like usually it's some kind of a ligament thing. So
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you got to look at maybe alternate ways to prepare for games. Start doing, maybe some newer stuff. Look at more biomechanics for stuff. How they move and stuff. I'm sure they do it, but it just, it doesn't seem to work.
You would think in this day and age of analytics and medical science and all the improvements we've made that we'd be able to figure out how to stop these injuries and how to prevent them, and it's just not preventable. But even so, you have guys like Garrett Cole, who he's actually making his first rehab start in Somerset that I'll be at on Tuesday. I'm assuming he's going to be a little rusty, a little rust on there, but it's going to be fun to see him watch. He caught what could have been Tommy John early. Now, he's a freak of nature who knows his body better than a robot knows his OS. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where he's lucky, but he's still not out of the woods yet. He could very well be needing Tommy John. I'm excited to see him pitch, but he's rumored to even make it back next weekend for the Yankees series versus Boston.
That's
So
insanely quick. I mean,
they're
do you
saying
have
that
do you have anything on the
so
pitch count he's going to be on?
so he's expected to throw about 50 pitches tomorrow in his first rehab start. And before he gets recalled, the Yankees want him built up to 70. So that's about two or three rehab starts. So if you start off Tuesday, you pitch again in the weekend, one more midweek, you'll be back for the weekend series, built up to 70.
I'm in. You just don't want to rush it. That's the thing.
You
You
don't want to
know,
rush it, but also you don't want to hold him out longer than you need to if there's not going to be any harm into letting him go.
true, but I mean, the Yankees right now, do they really need him?
Yeah, but imagine how raucous that homecoming will be.
I mean, it's gonna put. I mean, if the Yankees, needed to put some more energy into their, the team, the clubhouse, the fans. I mean,
Yeah,
this will get them right and going again. But I don't think they really need that right now.
yeah.
But it can't hurt.
No, but pairing him with like the May Player of the Month and Aaron Judge, last week's Player of the Week Juan Soto, May's Pitcher of the Month Luis Heel, who took Cole's spot in the rotation, May's Rookie of the Month Luis Heel. So adding
I
Cole
mean,
to this Yankee lineup, who seems like they're winning by 9 runs every game, It's
they're looking good.
that leads me to my next question. Why are you ranking the Phillies ahead of them? Why,
Well,
John? You know,
I
the eye
mean,
test
I look,
doesn't pass the eye test.
look. I mean, Yankees are doing good. They're playing good. I mean, you have Anthony Volpe coming into his own this year. I mean, hitting. I mean, they're looking good. I mean, now I'm a Phillies fan. I'm gonna be biased. Can't really
I
argue. I'm
get it.
biased, and
Like the
they're.
Yankees
I
have
mean,
a better record, a better winning percentage. They have a
one
better
one
win
one
loss,
win, one win, one win.
better run differential. They've played better opponents. Have the Phillies played another full series against a team over 500 yet?
You know, you bring that up and stuff. You bring it up, and it's like, how many years has the Yankees been in a division where it was just them and the Red Sox?
I mean,
Whatever.
but
I'm just saying,
there's
but I mean,
always a third
500
team.
right
There's
now
always
means
whether
nothing.
it's the
It means
Orioles, the
nothing.
Blue Jays, the Rays, there was always that third team that hung around in there that made it a dogfight.
Look, it means not. It means nothing. The 500 teams right now. I mean, it's
You're
baseball.
right, but I did need to bring that up because
It is.
the Yankees are better than the Phillies right now.
I mean, you can look. I mean, right? Maybe right now. I mean, you could argue, but I mean, you can't look. I mean, look at the Phillies. I mean, they have everyone hitting. They have bench players coming and filling in for injuries and hitting.
Aaron
I mean,
Judge
they
literally.
have one of the best pitching staffs and stuff, like all up and down.
I do want to point out that we're arguing about literally the 1A and 1B in
I
baseball.
know it's
Like
crazy.
it is like if the Phillies have the best staff, the Yankees are number two. The
Yeah,
Yankees have the best staff, the Phillies are number two. You know,
and you
The
can
Yankees
probably
have the best
interchange them.
offense, the Phillies are like right there with them.
And most of the time, probably every week or most game like days, you can probably put one. You can probably swap them back and forth. I mean, because really, how much difference is there between the both of them? You know,
Yeah,
like you're nitpicking. You know, I mean, you're gonna be nitpicking at this
I'm
point
nitpicking at
because,
this point. You're right,
and
but
that's a good thing to happen when you're
how is it?
nitpicking your two favorite, your favorite team, and then that, that's good for us.
I went golfing on Sunday with a couple of friends. It was me and three Met fans, and we like to talk and BS and talk sports. We were talking a little bit of Mets, and I tried to bring up the Yankees. And my one friend who I was talking to just looked at me and said, "Why do you want me to hold a conversation with you about the Yankees? I hate this. F you. We're not talking about the Yankees. And we just spent 20 minutes talking about the Mets and and their pitching staff and if what they should do with Alonso." He goes, "Yeah, but you're happy talking about the Yankees, and I don't want to see that." So it gives you the insight to the mind of a Met fan,
They're
and
having a rough time,
they're
the
having a
Mets.
rough go of it. But I
Rough
really
go.
do want to just highlight the Yankees and Phillies. Like, I mean, like I know Cody Clemens just went on the IL. Well,
Brandon Marsh hurt his
Brandon
hamstring.
Marsh as well.
Suarez got hit with a comebacker on his hand. He's questionable for his next start. They still have Trey Turner hurt with a hurt with his hamstring.
Well, here's a question for you: who will have a bigger impact upon return, Garrett Cole or Trey Turner?
Ooh,
Now,
you know what?
I think it on the surface it seems more obvious than it is, just because one's a pitcher and the other is an everyday player.
Yeah.
On the
Well,
surface, you would think that the reigning Cy Young would be the bigger ad, but
you would, but I mean, the thing is, Yankees are pitching terrific. I mean,
that's understated.
I forget you were telling me like this. I forget exactly what you're saying, but last week you were saying they had what, a collective ERA like around 1 or something.
Yeah, over the last like week,
Like
they
week, like so. I mean,
rough.
they're pitching terrific, and I mean, honestly, I mean, adding Garrett Cole back is going to be fantastic, and it's going to help them. But I mean, is it really going to, you know, make a huge impact? Like a that great of impact. I mean, now the Phillies have kind of cooled off hitting a bit. I
Right.
mean, and Trey Turner was having a great year. Like he
When's
was
he
having
due
a
back?
great, or he was batting over 300. But now, so when he comes back, I mean, you're hoping having his bat in the lineup again,
How
especially with
long is he out?
hmm?
How long is he out?
Turner.
Yeah,
I think they're saying about 6 to 8 weeks.
six
He'll
to eight
be
weeks from when he got hurt, or 6 to 8
Yeah,
weeks,
6 to 8 weeks from he got hurt.
and that was how many weeks ago? Like three.
About 3, yeah. So he
So
should be
he's got
coming
like
back soon, but they had that setback, so you don't know.
So we're talking maybe All-Star break a little after.
Around there. I'm hoping before, but I don't want to rush it. But I mean, they need his bat back. I mean, with Marsh getting hurt, you have guys starting to drop a little bit now, and having him back in the lineup's going to help a lot out. Help
Right.
having his speed and his bat, and obviously, I mean, on defense, not missing that much as you have like Sosa and stuff, but you know, Sosa's not he's not Trey Turner, so and neither is
He's
Whit Merrifield.
But just listen to these stats from Judge's May, because he had like the greatest month of May I've ever heard of.
Didn't he have like 13 home runs?
All right. So he broke Lou Gehrig's franchise record of doubles and home runs in a single month. The record was 12 doubles and 12 home runs in a single month. Judge 14 home runs and 12 doubles. Right? Judge joined Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Ted Williams, and Jimmy Fox as the only players in MLB history to get 25 extra base hits and 22 walks in a single month. 22 extra base hits and 22 walks in 1 month. Or how about the fact that in the span of 20 games, Judge got 12 doubles, 11 home runs. Nobody's ever done that before. In 20 games, he had 11 home runs and 12 doubles.
I mean, he had start to the season, right?
He had such a slow start. And that ball must look like a beach ball to him.
It has. Like, he's seeing everything.
During May, he led all major league players in home runs with 14. He had a 1.415 OPS, a 0.488 on base. His slugging was 0.928, and his average exit velocity on balls in play was 100 miles an hour. He averaged 100 miles an hour. The second place numbers behind Judge were 11 home runs to Judge's 14. A 1.061 OPS was second place. Judge had a 1.415. Second place was 1.061.
Who's the second place player?
I don't know who it was. I think it was Soto Pot, actually.
That's actually crazy.
I think, but don't hold me to that one.
I can see. That's believable. It's believable.
On base, he was up by 40. His slugging, he was up by 300. He hit the ball 2 miles per hour harder than the next best. Meanwhile, over that month, he hit 371. His batting average was 371 over the month. Luis Arias at 389 was only better. Judge had 27 RBIs. Jose Ramirez had 33. Judge climbed the WAR ladder so much. He had 3 F-WAR during the month of May. The next closest player was Bobby Witt Jr. at 1.8. John, only 5 players reached half of what Judge's F-WAR was for the month of May. Only 6 players have 3 total F-WAR for the entire season, and Judge got that in 1 month.
The question is, can he keep this up, though?
I mean, when he hit 62 home runs, this is kind of what it was, month in and month out. His batting average jumped 75 points over the month of May. He went from 207 at the beginning to now hitting 282. That's 75 points. When Judge entered May, he had 6 home runs. Leading the league were Mike Trout and Gunnar Henderson, who both had 10.
And Mike Trout's been hurt.
Trout shelved. Judge now has 20 to end the month. Obviously, he hit another one afterwards, so he has got 21. But that's 2 more than the next player on the list. He's on pace for 50-plus home runs. He's going to get about 55 with the pace he's on now. But if he keeps going the way he's going, if he hits 10 home runs for the rest of the year each month, that's 60 home runs. That's very obtainable for him. We've seen him do it before. And John, to top it off, as I'm kind of just like going nuts over this, clutch, right? We talk about players being clutch.
Mm-hmm.
12 of Judge's 20 home runs this season gave the Yankees the lead. 60% of the home runs he's had changed the score and made the Yankees take the lead. 60%. The MLB average is 34% for go-ahead home runs.
So is it safe to say Aaron Judge is the reason the Yankees are winning?
him and Soto. Judge is the only player in Major League history in any 28-game span to have 14 home runs, 25 extra base hits, 12 doubles, 27 RBIs, and 22 walks. Alex Verdugo was asked about Judge's, month of May. And Verdugo goes, "Yeah, that's a great season for me." And he's not wrong. If certain players, especially 10 years ago, had those numbers at the end of the season, you were like, "Yeah, that's a pretty good season for a role player." Right there are guys that only had 14 home runs and a handful of doubles, hitting 280. Like, that's a good season for a role player, and that's what Judge had in the span of 1 month. Have you ever seen a player just play at this high of a level without any type of allegations of performance enhancers?
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, you look back on like MVP seasons for like Harper and stuff, and well, and Ohtani
I mean,
and stuff. But
but
I mean, Judge is just doing it's crazy numbers.
crazy
It's
number.
just crazy numbers. I mean, it's video game numbers almost. It's like video game numbers almost.
And then, like, that's not even talking about Luis Gil. In the month of May, Luis Gil had an 0.70 ERA, 44 strikeouts, 12 walks over 38 and 2/3 of an inning. Garrett Cole, who hasn't pitched yet, didn't even have these numbers when he won the Cy Young last year. The Yankees are firing on all cylinders, and I know a lot of fans are waiting for the shoe to drop. I don't know how you feel about the Phillies. I don't know if you're as confident as you kind of seem about them, or if you're waiting for things to go wrong. But for the Yankees, things have gone wrong, and it just seems that their depth and the way they're constructed, just top to bottom, it's different. They have 3 players in the top 10 for WAR in the league. Because Anthony Volpe has been quiet and under the radar. He's basically on par with Gunnar Henderson and Bobby Witt Jr. as 3 of the top shortstops in all of baseball.
I mean, obviously, I mean, it's baseball. I mean, it's hard to keep a season and keep going like this, like throughout the whole season. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, I think usually have your ups and downs and stuff, but I mean, usually the good teams, they play through that slump and they get back on track. And I think the good teams. Now, you talk about depth on the Yankees. I think the Phillies also have depth too. Now they may not have like the star power depth or like number depth, kind of like you're kind of saying with the Yankees, but they have good solid depth with some solid, players that can fill in, fill in for an injury here and there. I mean, like Sosa with Turner. I mean, you have all these other guys, you had Clemens come up. I mean, he's hurt now, but now they called up David Dahl, who's been tearing it up in AAA this season for the Phillies. And I think he has a hit today already.
I actually wanted him last year when the Rockies cut him because I
Yeah.
think he's a very good player.
I mean, you have the Phillies said that you have the depth. They have the depth. The Yankees have the depth, and I think that's what separates like the good teams that can make playoff runs from like just like good teams.
Yeah.
Like
Great teams.
like when they're built, they're built for stuff to go wrong.
Yeah. This could be a World Series matchup, a rematch of the last World Series the Yankees won. And it would be fun.
I mean, it could. I mean, it's looking like it very well could be that.
Looking very possible. We'll talk about another possible World Series matchup later in the show, but I do want to get into our studs and duds because I spent so much time talking about the studs on the Yankees.
You do it for Dylan. That's what you had to do.
I did it for Dylan. Dylan had
for Dylan.
to. I had to. But my stud is an Astro. I know, shocker. But Alex Bregman, after such a terrible start over the last week, 6 games and 24 at-bats, 10 hits, 4 home runs, only struck out 4 times, 7 RBIs, hit .417 over the week with a 1.499 OPS. He had a great week. You got to give credit where it's due. The Astros are surging. They're back into the thick of that race. Everybody had them written for dead. But guess what? They're here. They're 7.5 out of that division. But guess what? With the expanded wild card, they're still there. I mean, they're 7.5 back both ways. And that's tough, right? But they're clawing their way back. They got back to near 500, lost a few, 4 and 6 in their last 10. but they're not out of it by any means, especially when you look at who's ahead of them, like Minnesota, Boston, Detroit, Texas, Tampa, Toronto. These are teams that can all start losing, and the Astros could, be seeing the Yankees in the playoffs, which wouldn't surprise anybody. But my dud of the week is World Series hero Brandon Pfaadt of the Diamondbacks, that starting pitcher who everybody fell in love with during their playoff run last year. He went 0-1 in his 2 games started, gave up 11 hits in 13 innings, 8 earned runs for a 5.54 ERA, 3 walks, 13 strikeouts. Rough week for the postseason legend.
And that's kind of like how he wasn't very good last year during the regular season either, but he turned it up to another level during the playoffs. But my stud this week is a Brave. I hate to say it, but someone who wasn't really doing much at the start of the season was starting to hit. Matt Olson, 8 for 25, 8 hits, 4 of them were doubles, a home run, 4 RBIs, 2 walks, only 5 strikeouts, and that's all. That's 1 week. That's I mean 8. That's really good. 8 hits.
It's crazy.
I mean, and he only struck out 5 times. So, I mean, he's starting to come up. I mean, hopefully more home runs are coming because I need him for my fantasy team. But my dud, I have a Houston Astro for my dud. Some of the bad side of the Astros here. Yanier Diaz, their catcher. He went 1 for 9 last week, 4 strikeouts, and he literally only had them in games because he was benched because he was in a slump. Like that, they benched him because he's playing bad. So that's why I only had 9 at bats. So, I mean, and he started pretty good off this season, but I think he's been struggling for a while, at least a couple weeks now. I don't know. He's starting to lose playing time now, so that's not looking good.
The Astros are such a funny team, but let's get into everybody's favorite subject. Pauline's prospect powwow. John, you got the AL West for us. Need to continue my commanding lead over Dylan on guessing which team these prospects play for.
Yeah, so I'll start it off quick. We'll try to go through these as quick as I can here.
Let's do it.
Barrett Kent.
Barrett Kent. Let's see. Barrett Kent, AL West sounds like a Mariner.
Ooh, no, Angel.
Angel.
He's an Angels.
Would not have been my next guest or by one after that. So,
but he's a right-handed pitcher, 19 years old, 6'4". He's in single A right now. ETA is 2027. Fifth ranked prospect on their team. He's not ranked in MLB Top 100. Drafted 2023 in the 8th round. Almost ended up going to Arkansas for college instead, but the Angels ended up drafting him. He could have a 4-pitch mix. He's a 93, 96 mile per hour fastball. He's a 84 to 85 slider and an upper 70s curve, and he's maybe might use a low 80s changeup. Good arm action, lands a lot of pitches for strikes. As he adds more strength to his frame, he should be able to hold his velocity more consistently and hope that helps with a more consistent delivery too. So, I mean, so he could be basically give him a chance to be, if he gets that worked out, could be a chance to be a solid middle of the rotation starter. And nothing, not like a really good pitcher, but a solid middle of the line pitcher. And that's overlooked a lot. You need that middle pitching. That's where a lot of the good teams, win their games with their middle rotation pitching. So,
it's always good when you can get arms in the rotation, especially ones that'll contribute well.
Yeah. Now, next one, we're gonna do this. Hopefully, I don't butcher the name here. Luis Morales.
Luis Morales.
Yes.
I'm gonna say Luis Morales is an Astro.
Ooh, got the A right. And
he's an athletic.
He's an athletic. The soon-to-be just athletics. He's the team's second-ranked prospect. He's a right-handed pitcher, 21, 6'3". He's in high A, ETA's 2025. Now, He was signed in 2022 as an international signing
Out of where?
out of, I believe, let me pull it up this thing. I believe out of Cuba, I believe. Yeah, out of Cuba.
Okay.
He's from Cuba. So 23. He set the U18 record for strikeouts with 161 across 82 and 2/3 inning in Cuba's Sierra Nacional. Here's what he defected in 2021 to Mexico.
Just like was it Randy Rosarena did?
Yeah, from Cuba. So he's a former Cuban, where he trained with Miles Rodriguez, a former Cuban national team pitcher and Olympian who regularly threw 100-mile-per-hour fastballs. So he's training with seems like one of the better pitchers there.
Yeah, honestly.
And he's excelling in his performance and earned a spot at 4 different levels. He's finished the year at high A Lansing, combining for a 2.86 ERA with 53 strikeouts and 44 innings. So he has an electric fastball, 91 to 97, can top out at 99. And I mean, he's only 21, so maybe that, you might see him throwing higher, getting up in maybe to the hundreds, maybe. So he put 10 pounds on of muscle. He has really good secondary pitches with slider, changeup, and curve. His durability needs to be tested. He has to work on commanding his pitches. But if he works that out, could be a solid top line pitcher. And I mean, from the sounds of it, sounds like he might be.
Yeah.
He almost sounds like a Paul Skeens type guy with the electric fastball and the.
But does he have a splinker?
So.
Does he have a splinker?
I don't think so.
But all schemes clears.
But I mean, this is a guy to look forward to. I mean,
for sure.
Keep an eye on.
That franchise needs something to hold on to.
They need something. I mean, this could be their future ace. Next up, Zach DeZenzio.
DeZenzio?
Yeah, DeZenzo.
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 I'm gonna go Ranger.
Astros. This is the Astros guy. He's their 4th prospect on their team. He's not ranked in MLB's top 100. He's third base, second baseman, 24, 6'5". ETA's 20-25. He's in Double-A, but he's in rehab right now in the FCL for a wrist injury. Drafted in 2022, 12th round. He fell so far because there were questions about his hitting ability and his defensive home. He tied Ohio State's record with 19 home runs in 2022 and produced some of the highest exit velocities in the minors.
We all know everybody loves exit velo.
I mean, that's one of the buzzwords. Exit velocity, the buzzword. He is well above average raw pop. He could translate to 30-plus home runs if he makes enough contact. He had trouble with non-fastballs. But the Houston Astros thinks he'll be better when he's fully healthy with this, so it doesn't seem they're too worried. He played mainly shortstop at Ohio State, and when I was looking him up in this stuff, like his prospect page had him at third base / second base, but when he looked up his actual thing on MLB.com and stuff for the MILB stuff, it had him in all the articles said it called him a shortstop. So I'm not really sure what they're doing.
Yeah, so, he's probably at that age where they're just trying to find
moving him around, I'm assuming, and they actually say that, but he's reasonably athletic, but he's below average quickness and erratic at third base at times. So they want to give him a look at left field actually this season. So
could be dangerous with left field.
So, I mean, last year he batted 304. So
right.
I mean, this guy could be a lot of power. Now this next guy I'm high on. I like this guy. This is probably my favorite prospect out of all the ones I have today. Colt Emerson.
Colt Emerson. All right, I got a 50-50 shot. I'm going to call this guy a Mariner.
You're right, Mariner. He's a Mariner. He's the third on the team, 49th on MLB's top 100. He's a shortstop, second baseman, only 18, 6'1", ETA 2026. He's in single A right now, drafted 2023, first round, 2023 in the first round. He hit 360 on the U.S. national 18 and under team that won the World Cup. heading into his senior year of high school. He was the Gatorade State Player of the Year that spring also. And he also was a former All-State wide receiver. So, like, yeah, you know this kid's he's athletic.
I do want to interrupt you and let you know that Reese Hoskins has hit a home run against the Phillies.
You know, I can't be too mad about that. But that stinks. Did you see they played his walk-up music and gave him a standing ovation?
I
Second
mean,
player
he didn't
ever
give him
in
a bad turn.
Phillies. No, it was the second player in Phillies history that they played their walk-up music for, other than Chase Utley when he came back. So they hold him in high regards.
That's good.
But now, where was I? All-State was former All-State wide receiver. He's the Mariners' third straight high school bat that they've taken in the first round. So the Mariners
Mariners
have
like to
taken.
mold them.
They're taking guys out of high school, but the guy's super athletic. He's a smooth swing for contact, advanced approach at the plate. He walked almost as much as he struck out in his debut. He has more pop than they thought he would have. So hopefully, you know, the way his swing and the way he has will generate more power, his in-game power. He has good instincts, steady defender. He's average speed, but he can be an everyday player for them. And from the sounds of it, he might be, I think, a future All-Star too, with being that athletic. So now the last one
Let's hear it.
from my friend Anna's favorite team, Anthony Gutierrez.
Gutierrez
Anthony
makes him a
Gutierrez.
Ranger.
He's a Ranger. He's an outfield.
Counts as a win.
Hmm?
That counts as a win.
That counts as a win. He's an outfielder. He's 19, 6'3", high A, ETA 2026. He's the fourth prospect on their team. He was signed in 2022 internationally, I think, from Venezuela. He originally was going to wait a year to sign with the Nationals for more money in 2023, but he signed with the Rangers for just under $2 million. So, I mean, that's hard to turn down. He trained at Amari Nina Academy. I don't know if I pronounced that right. It's the academy that produced Rafael Devers and Eloy Jimenez. So, I mean, Eloy Jimenez is not doing too good right now, but I mean, Devers,
Right.
great player. He could develop into a 4+ tools, player and solid speed player, but he's still a work in progress because of his age. He can hit for average, good bat to bat skills, but chases too many sliders outside the zone and gets too many ground balls. He shows aptitude for stealing bases, good reads and jumps at center. But if he slows down, they can go into right field because he has a strong arm too. So
pretty good. And that'll take us right into highlighting our favorite series of the upcoming week. John, I know we talked about a possible Yankees-Phillies World Series, but another very possible one is Yankees-Dodgers. Yamamoto, Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, they travel to the Bronx jungle, the Bronx Zoo, as some call it, and the Yankees take them on this weekend. I'm going Friday night. About a week ago, I texted my friend Sam, who I was going with, and I said, looks like we're lined up right now for Clark Schmidt versus Yamamoto. Clark Schmidt shelved now with an injury, so we got Yamamoto versus Cody Poteet. Garrett Cole can't come back quick enough. But that's a really exciting matchup. Two really, really, really good teams. If Aaron Judge and Soto can keep this tear up, that's going to be a really, really fun series to watch because Freddie Freeman is playing out of his mind. Betts and Ohtani are leading the charge for the NL MVP, just like Soto and Judge are for the American League. You're going to have like 6 of the top 10 vote getters for the MVP voting between the two leagues in Freeman, Ohtani, and Betts, and Judge, Soto, and Volpe's quietly possibly going to get votes too.
he's flying under the radar a lot this year, probably because of Judge and Soto being on that team.
Yes.
But
Plus, you have Henderson and Witt as incredible shortstops.
Yeah.
But he's top 10 in WAR. He's playing really, really well. He had that long hitting streak, 23 games, I believe it was. He's playing really, really good baseball, but that's a really good series to look out for because that could be a World Series matchup.
Very well could be. But mine is, MLB is going to London. You got the Phillies and the Mets. You know, I'm not too happy about this series, but I highlighted it anyway because it's a special game. You got a out of country game. Um, I don't like when they do this, Corey. I don't like when
Oh,
they
you
when
don't
they
like it?
play that far. I mean, because you're getting 2 days rest, 2 days travel days there, and I mean you have a lot of players, throwing routines off and stuff out of routine. You got the time change differences during the season. I mean, look at all the rain delays this past week and how many pitchers got blown up because they missed
Yeah,
one extra day.
yeah,
So I mean, and you don't want to do this when the Phillies are, they're still going pretty good, and they won, 2 out of the 3 against the Cardinals and stuff, and hopefully they, win the series against the Brewers. But I mean, I don't like it. I mean, I don't like when any sports. I don't like that the Eagles are playing the Packers in Brazil.
yeah. We should leave the Eagles in Brazil, right?
No.
Nah,
Mm-mm.
I think the whole team forgot their passports. It's gonna take a couple of years before they're able to get back in the country.
You would
Maybe
enjoy it.
Saquon never gets back into the country. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
But I'm just not a fan of it. I mean, I get you want to grow the sport and stuff, but it's like if you want to do these games, do them like way, way before the season starts, kind of like how they did the Korea game, you know, earlier on.
There's just so many areas in the United States that never get to see baseball. You have the Field of Dreams game in Iowa, but why not play a game in Hawaii, Alaska,
Hawaii, Alaska.
Montana, the
I mean,
Dakotas,
you have like the whole
Idaho?
middle of the USA that just doesn't have a team. I mean, a lot of the teams are concentrated on the East Coast, like kind of like, a little more upper East, the middle, and then a lot of on the West Coast. Like,
What
I mean,
does Indiana or Kentucky have in terms of Major League Baseball? Louisiana, Alabama.
I
Why are
mean,
you not playing more games? Like I know they're
in
playing one game now at an old Negro League stadium. Why are you not having a traveling series going around to all the ones that built this league and built what baseball is
I,
today?
I mean, if you want to grow the game, I mean that's fine around the country, and I think you can have those games early, like to start the season off before the season even starts, like during the spring, if you want. You want to count them towards the regular season, but it's like if you want to grow the game, dude, you got to do it at home.
You got to start
Do it at
there.
home first, and having games going around the different states where they don't usually have the games is, I think, a better start than going to London.
I don't know. It's just I understand it, but like now there's talk of London wants to hold the World Series, the Super Bowl. They think that they think that they deserve to have a Super Bowl there.
I,
It's just it should be
how's
a
that
nice
fair to the fans of like the actual home teams and stuff? I mean, because you like especially like 'cause you take your, I mean, someone's losing home field advantage.
but it's all
You
about the almighty dollar.
everything, everything. That's what it comes down to.
It does, and that's going to do it though for us. John, Pauline, Corey, Jason, been a pleasure talking baseball with you guys. Talk some more Yankees, Phils next week. See what's going on with these gambling suspensions that could be looming. Anybody get banned from baseball, you'll hear it from us. But that'll do it. Outsidersports.net. That's where you can find our bi-weekly rankings. Look up to Twitter, Outsider Sports 3, YouTube, TikTok. Search up Outsider Sports. We'll pop right up. You can hear more of this show every week. But that'll do it here. Signing off.